Today we're going to be talking about transitive and intransitive verbs. First of all, let's talk about the word transitive to begin with. The root it means to move. The prefix trans means across. So transitive, of course, means to move across. And intransitive gives us the negative prefix in, which means not. So intransitive means to not move across. Those meanings apply to how we're going to be talking about those verbs. Transitive means to move across. In other words, the action of the sentence moves across the verb to a direct object. The direct object receives the action of the verb. Intransitive does not move across. So the action of that sentence does not move across the verb. The action ends at the verb. There may still be words after it, but those will not be receiving the action of that verb. There is no direct object that receives the action of that verb. So first of all, let's look at a transitive sentence, transitive verb, where we have a direct object to receive the action. Our sentence is, Lily drove the red convertible. So if you analyze this sentence, what's the verb? The verb is drove. And that is a transitive verb because it has an opportunity to move across into a direct object. What is the thing that Lily is driving? And you probably guess, yes, that's the convertible. So the convertible is the direct object. It is the presence of the direct object that makes that a transitive verb. Let's try another one. My dog caught the frisbee in midair. What's the verb? And is the action moving across to a direct object? And it is, because you have caught as your transitive verb. And what did the dog catch? The dog caught the frisbee. So frisbee is your direct object. Those are some samples of transitive verbs. Now let's move on to intransitive. These are verbs that do not have a direct object receiving the action. Huffing and puffing, we arrived at the classroom door with only 7 seconds to spare. You see in this sentence that you have the verb arrived. We did the arriving, but there's nothing receiving the action. We didn't arrive a frisbee. We didn't arrive a convertible. We arrived at a place, but that's an adverb. There's no noun there, no direct object to receive the action. And so therefore, arrived is an intransitive verb. Similarly, James went to the campus cafe for a steaming bowl of squid eyeball stew. Don't blame me, I didn't make that sentence up. So what did James do? James went. Everything else after that is added information operating as adjectives or adverbs, but there is no direct object. He didn't go frisbee. He didn't go convertible. We need a noun to be a direct object, and that does not exist here. So went is an intransitive verb. To escape the midday sun, the cats lie in the shade under our cars. We have a phrase over here that we won't deal with right now. That's something we'll deal with in 8th grade. But what we're really looking at here is the subject, cats, and lie. And lie, again, is an intransitive verb. It does not have a noun receiving that action. Around fresh ground pepper, Cheryl sneezes with violence. We know Cheryl is doing the action. We know sneezing is the action, but there's no recipient of the sneeze. So again, okay, I guess I didn't put in an intransitive marker in there, but that's okay. In the evenings, Glenda sits on the front porch to admire her immaculate lawn. And we know sits is the verb and it is intransitive. Okay, I must not have put those in here. Sits is the verb and sits is intransitive. Flipped on its back, the beetle that Clara soaked with insecticide dies under the refrigerator. We got a lot going on in this sentence. But what the basic element of this sentence is the beetle dies. That Clara soaked with insecticide, again, we can talk about later. But the main point of this sentence is the beetle dies under the refrigerator. And dies is our verb, and dies is our intransitive verb because there's nothing, it doesn't die something. Okay, so transitive versus intransitive. One thing that you should do is realize that many verbs can be both transitive and intransitive, or I guess either transitive or transitive, depending, I don't know if I said that right, transitive or intransitive, depending on whether there's a direct object. Some can function both ways. So again, reminder that action verb with a direct object, so we have moving across, is transitive. No direct object, not moving across, that's intransitive. There are some verbs, arrive, go, lie, sneeze, sit, die, and others, that are always intransitive. There's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can put after them to make it a noun, to make it a direct object. But there are some verbs that function both ways. So let's take a look at some of those. Here are some that can function both ways. Because of blood sugar problems, Rosa always eats before leaving for school. Well, she eats, but we don't know what she eats, so that is an intransitive verb. Compare that with, if there is no leftover pizza, Rosa usually eats whole grain cereal. Now we know what she eats. She eats cereal. So eats is our transitive verb. Cereal is our direct object. During cross-country practice, Damien runs over hills, through fields, across the river, and along the highway, all places that are telling us how and where he runs, which are adverbs, but nothing that provides a noun, a direct object for us. So runs is an intransitive verb. In the spring, Damien will run his first marathon. Now we know what he's running. He is running a thing. He's running a marathon. So transitive verb, will run is a transitive verb, and marathon is our direct object. Hopefully this helps you a little bit and is a reference for you to come back to time and again if I'm not around for help and if you need some help figuring out direct and indirect objects.